Hello, and welcome to episode 187 of the Casual Try Hard podcast. I'm Brian,
And I'm James.
and this week we're going to do a mailbag and maybe some other stuff if there's time, but definitely mailbag.
Definitely the mailbag. You guys have been sending in your questions, and they started kind of petering out, so we figured that was about done, and we didn't finally get around to answering your questions.
And there's spoilers coming.
There are spoilers coming. Wanted to make sure we got these in before spoilers. Actually, spoilers start like this week, right? When you guys are listening to this, they should be like today.
Yeah, when the pod releases, there should be spoilers happening.
Yeah.
Or previews.
Whatever you want to call them, sure.
Yeah. So all of these questions pretty much came from our social media.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to reach out to us on Facebook or Twitter or Discord or wherever, all those links are in the description, so you can go track us down there.
Yeah. Look us up. Reach out. Let us know you're there.
Yes.
If you guys are looking to support the show, you can do it one of two ways. First is with our TCG player affiliate link, tcg.CasualTryHardMTG.com. Follow that link over to TCG player, and everything you purchase will get a percentage of that'll help pay our bills, pay for hosting fees, and whatever else we got going on. We would appreciate it. It doesn't cost you guys anything and really helps us out. If you guys want to support us a little bit more directly, patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG is where you go. You can chip a couple bucks in, and you get access to our pre-show every week, so you get a whole nother episode just for you. I think calling it an episode is a little bit of a misnomer, because it's not planned at all and just kind of us catching up for the week. But it's there, and it's content, and our patrons get to listen to it. Patrons go ahead.
And this week was all about how you can get nickels.
Yes, lots and lots and lots of nickels. Like, between the two of us, maybe 6,000 nickels?
Yes.
Something like that? Yeah, lots of nickels.
Pretty good.
Yeah, so patrons got to hear all about that. Patrons also get access to our show notes, and you get put on my mailing list, which hopefully will go out soon. I spent my weekend looking at nickels, so I didn't get around to mailing stuff out, but it'll be going out soon. So yeah, chip a couple bucks into Patreon and help us out, and like I said, get on our mailing list and get to listen to our pre-show. We also have our tournament coming up soon, Saturday, August 27th at 8 p.m. East Coast time. It's going to be Peasant Brawl, so commons and uncommons, singleton, brawl, on arena. Tournament should be up on MTG Melee, so you can go check out the link there and register.
Yeah. That's like next weekend.
It is next weekend, yes.
Yeah, wild.
Yeah. Time flies.
Snuck up on me. I need to tweak my deck. I built it a couple months ago and I haven't thought about it since, so I need to go
revisit it.
Make sure it still seems reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we're going to get into ye old mailbag now?
Ye old mailbag. The first letter from the mailbag is, what does your ideal birthday involve? I feel like this answer changes over time, right?
Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I'm kind of like a cake, ice cream, leave me alone. Well,
exactly.
Ideally ice cream cake.
Yeah.
But that is my go-to, is the ice cream cake.
Yeah.
And just kind of like, be chill.
Yes. Relax is what my ideal birthday involves. I would say 5 out of 7 years, my birthday falls on a work day, so I work.
Yes, exactly. I go to work, try to have as chill a day as possible.
Yeah.
I have the advantage of sometimes I can just say I'm leaving.
Yeah, I don't have that advantage.
And just be like, and I'm done.
It's funny. I remember it was right before we started this show, right? Was your 40th birthday?
We've been doing the show for a while.
Doing the show?
Because we started in 2019, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because the Dumpster Fire Open was like deep, because we went deep in the pot. We started on guilds.
Yeah, okay.
Guilds going into Ravnica Allegiance. Like, our first set review was Ravnica Allegiance.
Yeah, that's right.
And so the next year was my birthday, then the world ended.
Yeah.
I hope they weren't connected in any way, but they could have been. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I remember, going to your birthday party, and
Hmm.
I had a conversation with my wife. I think it was when we were on vacation, just like a couple months or last month or whatever. And I'm creeping up on 40, and she's creeping up on 40. She's a year behind me, but she's obviously way more bent out of shape about it than I am.
Hmm.
Like I don't know, I feel like I've been 40 for a couple years now, and that was the joke I made is, I've been telling people I'm 40 for a couple of years. I'll probably tell people I'm 40 for a couple more years. Like, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
it's fine. Your
So,
your back is 70, so
yeah, you're not lying.
like the things attached to the back might be close to 40, but the back
Yeah, definitely
70 for
70.
sure.
Yeah, at least. Yeah, I think I'm in
Um,
the same boat though. Just
yeah,
leave me alone,
just chill.
relax. Yeah,
Yeah, like
maybe a
definitely
nice
not
dinner,
like
but
definitely not like back in the old days where it was like you'd go out and do like,
yeah,
what are your plans? I don't know, maybe get a steak. Like,
yeah,
hopefully there's an ice cream cake.
yep.
Like, for me, like maybe Gavin goes to bed at 7:30.
That's your birthday
Like,
present is Gavin goes to bed.
yeah, at 7:30, he just
Yeah,
goes like, you know what, it's time.
yep.
But I
Happy
will say
birthday,
he will
Pop.
sometimes be like yesterday, it's like, buddy, are you tired? And he just like got off the couch and like walked into his bedroom.
Oh, nice.
It's like, okay, you're tired, you're done, you're done. Okay, I got it.
Bonus.
All right. So what is a deck you had high hopes for but did not perform?
Hmm. I think I have a couple answers for this question.
Um, I think my first was I was all excited when Pioneer was announced because I was like, God Pharaoh's gift.
Yep.
It's coming back, baby.
Yep.
It did not come back.
It did not come back.
It did not come back. Sad times. Though I am selling foil combat celebrants for a killing right now.
There you go.
But yeah,
What was
did not make it come back.
what was the first deck that you got super excited for, bought cards, and then like it was awful?
Oh, jeez. I don't remember.
Yeah.
That's
None come to mind?
none really jumped to mind. Like, so when I first started buying cards, I bought like Burn and Merfolk
Mhm.
for like Modern because you could turn them into legacy decks
Right.
without much work. Those were the first decks I bought cards for. Like, really.
You never like bought cards for a brew that just didn't work out though? Like you were you were
Um,
excited to the point where you actually built the deck and bought the cards and then it was just bad.
I'm sure that has happened, but there's not like one that like jumps out where I was like, yeah, I think I cracked it, and just went like 0408
Yeah.
and just was like, oh, this was not it.
I remember
I mean,
like way back when I think we were in the old store, the like the
the
weird
first
store.
old store,
No, not the one across from the high school, the one after
the
that.
warehouse.
The warehouse, yeah. And Sam Black posted a brew that I thought was the absolute coolest thing I'd ever seen. So I ordered
Mhm.
all of the cards for it, and the deck was absolutely or I didn't order the cards. It was one of the few times I actually traded for cards. And the deck was absolutely awful. It was like Traverse the Uvenwald, Snapcaster Mage, Tarmogoyf. Like it was like Teamer, and you were trying to like play a Tarmogoyf beatdown plan that you could tutor up and then use the Snapcasters to rebuy your Traverses to get more Tarmogoyfs. It was not good.
I guess I came up with another one. I try to block it out. So, I had been playing like this white like token deck in the very end of M15 standard.
Mm-hmm.
Triplicate Spirits, Raise the Alarm, Obelisk of Erd,
Mm-hmm.
right? And like you could kill people on turn 5.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, oh, I like this like tokens thing where I can like have one card that makes multiple creatures.
Mm-hmm.
So I built black-white tokens. And then took it to the for what did we call the weird Charlotte Open that blew up halfway through?
I don't know, what did we call that one? We had a name for it.
Or it was like the GP that like blew up, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah. It was my
in
first
like
day
round.
too.
Yeah, like it was like in round 5, like half the people dropped because like it was 3 hours over time.
Yeah.
And they were just giving away product.
Hmm.
Um, but I took black white tokens to that,
Hmm.
and it was the um event where red green Eldrazi
Yeah.
was the thing, and so everyone was playing Kozilek's Return.
Red Green Eldrazi? I thought that was
Yeah,
the Nahiri Emrakul tournament. The Jeskai Nahiri?
maybe.
Yeah, I think it was
So
Jeskai
like,
Nahiri.
but there was also a lot of red green Eldrazi because I remember losing it twice.
Oh, okay.
But like it was like Battle for Zendikar, shadowy area
Yeah.
where it was like
I was
you
playing John
had
that had Kalita, so it was Oath had come out.
yeah. So like but I remember that was like I played against Cameron
Mhm.
before we went up, and I just got annihilated over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm in too deep to change my deck like 3 days before. And I just spent the entire tournament getting wrecked.
Dumpstered.
I think this was the one where I played against like a kid who was playing like mono green elves, a deck that uh, black white tokens could never ever ever beat.
Hmm.
And I like shock thought seized him in a game, and then later on I lost to because he had a Chroma's Monument.
Oh,
Like
that's not a card Elves plays.
no, no, still got smushed.
Yeah.
And at the end he was like, "You should have valued your life total more." Fetch, shock thought seizing me. That's just not a good way to play Magic.
Wow.
And I was like, "Come on, Chroma's Monument Elves guy." Like I was like, "Okay,
Yeah,
I'll
Chroma's
keep that in
Monument.
mind."
I meant like -40. Those 4 life points don't matter.
Yeah, it's like you dealt you dealt 40 to me. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
what I was at. Yeah, but it was just like it was just so bad. I was at like the X6 table or whatever, just like playing for some scrap of decency and respect, and just like some 12-year-old. Well, you don't value your life total enough. So black white tokens is a deck that I had high hopes for, and you might think that deck was never good. That deck top aided an open or a GP we were at
Hmm.
in the hands of Cho,
Hmm.
Josh Cho, like Jerry T's friend.
Yep.
Like it was like an open at like it was another Charlotte Open back when like there were big tournaments in Charlotte like 4 times a year.
Yeah.
But black white tokens.
I mean, that deck was popular enough that they made a modern event deck out of it. The only modern event deck.
Yeah, I played it after well after the modern event deck though.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like it had Sorin,
Hmm.
like just the black white Sorin, just all. Deck was trash.
Yeah, very not good. All right.
So
The next one I'm pretty sure isn't for you. You're not a coffee drinker. Favorite
I
coffee
do.
brewing methods. I use a percolator. Super old school. My grandma always had a percolator, and she would make coffee like at all hours of the day randomly whenever we went to go visit. So, I don't know. I always enjoyed grandma's coffee, so
Got a percolator.
we got a percolator. That's what we use. It's not
I-
super scientific or like even the best way to brew coffee, but it's nostalgic, and that's what matters.
You're not like slowly pouring the water
No.
over in a circle.
No, definitely not.
Yeah. Like you said, I don't drink coffee.
What's your favorite way to enjoy crisp Dr. Pepper?
Ah,
Are you right from the can guy or over ice or
right from the can.
Right from
Like
the
if you
can?
can that pure uncut. Like
Yeah.
you don't water it down. You want those 23 flavors. Like maybe it would be like with like some KFC since there's 12 herbs and spices there and the 23 flavors of Dr. Pepper.
There you go.
Just the 35 flavor explosion.
All of the flavors.
All of the flavors.
Do you
Because there's only 35 flavors.
That's right. Do you prefer can or bottle or soda fountain?
I think I might be bottle. Like
Bottle.
20-ounce bottle might be the peak enjoyment.
All right. Well, there you go. The question that wasn't asked, we got answered anyway.
We got answered anyway. All right. What is the first mythic you remember opening?
Ooh, I still have the first mythic that I opened.
What was it?
Elspeth.
Okay.
Yep.
So I know I probably opened some mythics before, but the one that sticks out is it was an M15 draft, and we were out of English packs.
Yeah.
So our entire pod had to draft with like
Russian or whatever.
I think they were Japanese
okay.
packs. And I opened not one, but two of the like 7-mana Garruk.
Oh, holy moly.
I know I opened some before then, but I remember that specifically that I got 2 in one draft.
Yeah.
And did not build a deck that could properly utilize my 2 non-English Garruks.
Well, that's a mistake. You should have easily won that draft.
Should have easily won. Maybe it's because I didn't know what the card did.
Maybe.
We'll go with that. I also remember opening. I still have this one. In Ugin in Fate. What is it? And Fate pre-release sealed. And just building a deck that was like, I just have to get to Ugin, and then nothing else matters for this entire game.
Yep.
Just have to get to the Ugin. Just get to the Ugin. I know I opened stuff in like cons, but I don't like nothing like really super sticks out.
Yeah. Nope.
But the double Garruk.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I opened an Elspeth Sun's Champion in like the first booster packs I ever I bought a fistful of booster packs when I was first getting back into the game, and there was an Elspeth Sun's Champion in there that is now signed and still in my collection.
Wow, I have oh gosh, what was another?
I didn't know how Planeswalkers worked, so that was kind of confusing. Welcome back to the game. Here's a new card.
I remember I would not play equipment because I didn't understand how they worked. I had to and I didn't want to ask, so I just had to wait and watch and figure out how they worked before I started playing equipment.
Yep.
But yeah, those were. I miss those days of we just need to get a draft with whatever random packs we have laying around.
Yeah.
Those were the days.
Yep.
Speaking of cards that we had, I was gonna say, going through. I don't know if you have this, but going through my boxes, I have a small. It might have been the box they gave us at the event, but I have a small box in the back of my Hour of Devastation Amonkhet stuff that has my sealed pool from when I day 2'd, and all of the I should have all of them still. All of the stamped cards I drafted in my day 2 draft.
Oh, that's super cool. I wish
in
I
both
had
my drafts. The fact that I had 2 Approach of the Second Sons.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy. But yeah, I have the entire both the day 1 pool and both stamped drafts, and
that's
you can
awesome.
tell. So yeah, that just sits there. So I didn't know if you did that for your Modern Horizons.
No, I totally should have though. I kind of wish I had. I mean, I never sold any of that stuff. I could dig through my Modern Horizons boxes
and find it.
Yeah, pull out
you find the
stamp
stuff.
I'm sure on my phone somewhere I have a picture of my sealed pool. I think I have a picture of the
Martin Yuza has a collection of every Pro Tour deck he's ever drafted.
Oh, really? That's cool.
He has every deck he's ever drafted is in a box. So he just has them all organized, and he can pull out this was my Pro Tour Kyoto.
Yeah.
like draft deck.
That's super cool.
So yeah, so I just have that as, and just yeah, this is what got me to day 2.
Yeah, I wish I had done that. Maybe I'll try and
Vizier
put that
Deferment.
together. Yeah, maybe I'll have to try and put that together at some point.
Yeah. All right. What is your favorite bad tribe?
Yeah, I think they mean tribes that like aren't fish or elves or humans.
Yeah.
So
Like fish, elves, humans, like slivers, I think is like
slivers is probably a off the
is like
table
too
answer.
good.
Yeah.
That's hard.
It is.
Like I've never like been
tribal guy.
What's it called? Yeah, like drawn to that aspect of the game.
Yeah.
Though I mean, it's not a bad tribe, but I am putting together Pioneer Elementals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends how you're defining bad tribes. Like Elementals didn't have support until recently. That wasn't a tribe.
Yeah, like Elementals wasn't like until they like printed 5 busted Elementals in Modern Horizons, and then
right,
Omnath.
Right.
Like Elementals wasn't a thing, so it's only been like a thing for like a year.
Yep.
I don't know.
Like, I played
whatever Greasefang is. He's
rat.
A rat.
Rat samurai, rat pilot, something.
Rat pilot. Yeah. The pilot tribe.
I don't know. Like, I would say zombies, but that's probably like not a bad tribe. I mean, I like vampires, but that's also not like a bad tribe.
Yeah,
I like elves. They're definitely not a bad tribe.
Like I kick around like, should I buy the pieces for like green white angels? Then I just think I would hate myself.
Yeah. I also think you would hate yourself.
And what's he called? The like core set like 18 or 19, like the one white 3/3 flying angel, Resplendent Angel.
Yeah.
Those are like $40 a piece.
Are they really?
Yeah, they're like.
Man, I gotta work my way up to core 19.
They're ridiculously expensive. I was just like,
got a playset of them.
I was like, whew, like that is a lot of dollary dues for that card. I was just like,
yeah.
I was like, oh, like maybe like I could get Giada. I have everything else, like whatever. I'll grab those. And I was just like, dear God, these are so expensive. Like, why? And it's probably like, well, you see,
yeah.
It goes in like one deck.
Yep.
Yeah. So core 19, a near mint. So this is Card Kingdom price is $43.
Wow.
Would you like the promo? The pre-release promo? That's $65.
Oh, I think I have one of those actually.
And the promo pack is $48.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I think I have my answer. I just came up with my answer.
Okay, hit me.
Kobolds.
Kobolds?
Yeah, they're my favorite tribe that's not like a tribe. I don't think you can play a kobold deck.
Hey, Cheerios would beg to differ.
Right, but that's not a tribal deck.
He plays a lot of kobolds for not a tribal deck. But before they made all the like XX00s,
kobolds were
you had to play
at.
kobolds because that's all you had. Kobolds and like Sphere Shield.
Yeah.
And Phyrexian Walker, the 0 mana 03.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, we just took like we took you on a trip to like Visions and like Alliances, I think.
Hey, I think it was Visions and Alliances.
For like just the most random things ever.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kobolds are cool because of Roger.
Roger. Yeah. He is pretty nifty.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll go with Elementals. I know they're good now, but they weren't good for a long time.
Yep.
Like the more I play Risen Reef, the more I'm like, how did this card get printed?
Yep.
It's just a Coiling Oracle every time you play a creature.
Pretty decent.
I mean, God help you if you go like Risen Reef into the 3 mana Chandra and 0 it. You're just like, haha.
All of the cards.
All of the cards. This is great.
Yep.
All right.
This next one's kind of a little lengthy.
Yes.
And there's a backstory here.
Okay.
So the person who submitted this question used to be a tournament organizer at their LGS, until they sold out of the game to move across the country. So we're very close with the community, ran tournaments, and then got out of the game and sold out completely. Life has moved on, and they're in a place where they would like to get back into the game. So they said they have 2 questions. Number 1 is they have lots of regret for selling and seeing the current prices. Are there any tips for dealing with that?
So, I wasn't a TO, but in 2008, brace yourselves, ladies and gentlemen, I had to move from Pittsburgh to Atlanta. And I had a box full of Magic cards that I had not used in 6 years. I had a complete playset of all the dual lands. I had 4 cradles. I think I had 4 cradles, 4 Sarah Sanctums, 4 Tolarian Academies, among other things.
Right.
Sold it for $500. Put it on eBay, buy it now, and it sold for $500 immediately.
At least you got $500 for yours, because when I got out of the game the first time, or when I got out of the game from when I was a kid, I kept all my cards. And then when I got back into the game, I went through all my cards, and all of my duels were missing.
Oh no!
Play sets of all of them. I wasn't playing through Urza's block, so I didn't have any of that stuff. All my Force of Wills were missing. I had an Emerald at one point. I don't remember if I had traded that away or if that went missing with all the duels, but yeah, there was tens of thousands of dollars of cards that are just gone.
Oh man.
Yeah. So at least you got $500 for yours.
So every so often I think back on it and go like, oh, that sucks.
Yep.
Mainly because it's like I could have different cards other than the like duels that I had to that I've cobbled together over the years.
Yeah.
See pre-show and the selling of thousands of nickels. But I kind of think of it as like at the time I needed the money to move, and like at that point, like that was more important than whatever the future value was. And like if we want to get like, you know, super sappy, like that's where I met my wife, was in Atlanta.
There you go.
So it's probably good that I moved
totally
there.
Worth it.
So like, you know, I kind of think of it as like you use those cards to finance another part of your life, right? And hopefully that part of your life worked out, right? And like, you know, if you look at it as like, yes, I traded future like monetary value for like, you know, a spouse or like the career you got when you moved or whatever, like it probably worked out in like your favor.
Yeah.
Right.
I have a little bit different answer. That's maybe a little bit more philosophical or spiritual or whatever. I'm typically not a person with a ton of regrets.
No regrets?
Well, I mean, not in the Chad way. Just like, you know, things happen for a reason. And, you know, even though I didn't sell out, I still lost like a whole bunch. But like, there's not really any reason to focus on that. It doesn't do you any good to focus on it because it's done. You can't control it anymore. So just kind of, I don't know, either don't think about it or just move on. You know what I mean?
I think anyone who has ever like sold anything has this like feeling of like, man, I could have got more value. Yeah. If I held on to it, right? What is the big thing is like pizza day in Bitcoin land? Oh yeah. Where like when Bitcoins were like 35 cents or whatever, someone like traded like 40 or 50 or some whatever number of Bitcoin to get a pizza.
Yeah.
And so like that, there's like a big day around that. Like it happens, but like usually when I sell cards, I never go back and look to see what the price is.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Like I got out for what I got out, you know. I sold my like lotus petals over the winter, and I needed gutters on the house, and I was like, I don't want to spend $3,500.
So you got
I will
gutters on your
just
house.
I got gutters on my the land around my home is dry, and like it doesn't matter what lotus petals sell for now. The land around my home is dry,
Right.
so like it's done.
It matters more than you having lotus petals.
Exactly.
Yep.
So I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't dwell on it, and you probably traded that like whatever future value
Mm-hmm.
for something that was
Yeah, I
more
mean,
important to you.
15 years worth of experiences that you wouldn't have had if you didn't move.
Exactly.
Yep. The second part of
And
the question is, having dealt with that now, how do you rebuild a collection? They mentioned that part of their fee for being a TO for this LGS was they got to draft every week for free.
I mean, it honestly, I think we've talked about it before. It does come down to like kind of what you want to do. If you're fine with just like slowly building your collection drafting,
Mhm.
like that's how I have most of my collection.
Yeah.
Because like from cons to I would say the Ravnica block,
Mhm.
I think all I did was draft multiple times a week.
Mhm.
Like I played very little constructed. I think I started playing more constructed around Ravnica.
Yeah.
But like the bulk of my collection was built on drafting. Like if I were to go to the local store now, I think I would like prefer to do a draft.
Mhm.
So if you like drafting, it is a long, slow process of
yeah.
like, you know, selling your low value cards, trading your like standard things for non-standard things,
Mhm.
and like just working through that way to get to work your way back up. But like it depends on your timeline, right? If you're
Yeah.
like, I want to have a commander deck that has like duels in it. Like I'm gonna play Muldrotha and I want the Sultai duels. All right, like you can slowly draft your way to that, but if you need your timeline to be like 4 or 5 years,
Yeah.
right? Like I have a bunch of duels partly because I uh like just bought them.
Mhm. Yeah, there was
But
a
I
long
bought them.
time where I'd buy, every time we went to a big event, I'd buy a duel or two.
Yeah, you guys once Anthony talks about like the day I like disappeared at like we went to a GP and I immediately went to the Star City Scratch and Dent and bought like 2 Badlands for $50 a piece.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You just disappeared." I'm like, "Yeah, I had to, like, because you could get to the if you got there when the event hall opened,
Yeah.
you could go through the Scratch and Dent cards, and you could find cards that weren't as scratched and dented,
Right.
and so you could get really good deals out of the Scratch and Dent box.
Yeah, I think one
But like,
of my underground C's is almost minty, and that was from the Scratch and Dent.
mm-hmm. And so like you have now, granted, that was, gosh, I guess 6-7 years ago at
Yeah.
this point. And so, yes, like, you're not going to, like, stroll in and find a $50 Badlands anywhere
Right.
now, right? But, you could probably find a $150 Badlands instead of a $400 Badlands if you're willing to, like, shop the heavily played,
Yeah.
damaged thing. You just have to, like, those cards you want to, like, look at yourself.
Right.
But it depends on your timeline, right? Like, if you want to, like, in a year have this giant collection,
Mhm.
like that involves you swiping your credit card repeatedly and without like and without conscience.
Yeah, for sure.
But if you're like if your horizon's a lot longer, you can just draft your way back up and trade and things like that.
Yeah, I kind of have two different answers for this. The first is kind of a cop out because like how we built our collections and how this person built their collection way back when, I don't think applies anymore because of booster fun. Like and secret layers, like cards just get into the hands of people differently now. So I don't know that any advice that I have to give you is gonna be genuine because it's not how I built my collection. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Aside from that, is it depends on what you want your collection to be. Like if you're looking to specifically pick up the cards that you used to have, like that's one thing. If you're looking to just build a collection to play Standard, that's something completely different. And honestly, if you're playing anything like Modern, Commander, Pioneer, Standard, like you're not really playing cards from that area anymore anyway. Like everything now is printed within the last few years.
Yeah.
Modern Horizons and Fire Design have definitely changed the power level of cards. So like if you're looking to build up what you used to have, a lot of that stuff probably isn't playable anymore, which might mean you can pick it up cheap if you still want it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like it's very much a like if you want just like boxes and boxes of cards, regardless of their value, that's one thing. But if you want more high dollar cards, and another thing, like this might sound silly, but like I have twice answered just like someone in like the local community has been like, I'm selling my cards. And I've been the first person to reply on Facebook, give me a number, and I will show up at your house. And I bought someone's collection for $500 and ended up with all the Zendikar fetches, Snapcaster mages, and then sold a bunch of stuff running around town to people and paid for it and just got boxes and boxes of free stuff. And it was a lot of stuff from when they drafted. And then another person, I just got their commons and uncommons from drafts recently for $40, $50. And thousands of cards. And I bet you I sold a ton of them in the last couple weeks and probably have paid for that collection and then some.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? So, like, you can just, like, if someone's like, you know what, hey, I think I'm done. Or, like, I'm sick of having all of these cards in this clutter. Right, sometimes you can get a good deal, and then you just have to like sort it.
Yeah.
Now, not like, oh gosh, who is the guy we had on that bought like 100,000 cards from his LGS?
Yeah, Dom.
Dom. Let's not go that hard, Dom. Like we can't all have 100,000 cards in our house.
Yeah, I think my wife would be angry. She's angry with what I currently have.
yes. I kind of get the run of the upstairs room.
Yeah.
So I've not been in trouble yet, but yes, I think if I had 100,000 cards, she might be like, pump the brakes.
Time to start moving some of them.
Yeah, like you can't possibly sort all of these cards. And it's just like, is that a dare?
It's a challenge.
It's a challenge. I think I can.
Yeah.
I think I can. So yeah, I think that, like I said, it's a question of what you want.
Yeah.
But like the only thing I've come close to reproducing from my old collection from way back in the day was I had a complete set of visions.
So did I. That's super random.
I think that I'm only missing Vampiric Tutor.
Yeah.
From my complete set of visions. And like that's the only thing I was like, you know what, when I was a kid I had a complete set of visions. I'm gonna like try to rebuild that.
That's cool.
But like you said, now it's kind of like it doesn't really matter.
Right.
Because like the only like playable visions card, it's probably Vampiric Tutor.
Yeah, I think so.
And that's banned in most formats.
Yes.
Right? Like, there's probably another Visions card. I'm trying to like run through all of them. City of Solitude. There we go.
Yep.
But like, you have very few cards from those eras that matter.
Yeah. Well, like this person mentioned, it was like 15 years ago, which would have been 2007. Yeah. Yeah,
that's like Innistrad era. I guess a little bit before that. That's
like Mirrodin. Was that 07?
Mirrodin, I think somewhere in there.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, like not a million years
some of
ago.
that stuff is still good, but it's not. The formats are overwhelmed with things that have been reprinted since the world ended.
Yeah, and like I totally understand like me trying to rebuild my like Visions collection for no reason other than I had it as a kid, right?
Yeah.
If there are some cards that you're like, man, I loved Mastercore, get you some Masticores and like play a bad Masticore deck and like relive like the glory days or whatever, right? Like
Yeah.
whatever, like, you know, Mirrodin cards, you're like, oh man, I remember playing this in like draft or whatever, right? Like, you know, as much as we kind of rag on the current state of like constructed Magic,
Mm-hmm.
you could like just be like, you know what, I'm gonna build 3 decks from like the Mirrodin era that like I loved.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you know, when a friend comes over, he'd be like, hey, do you want to play these like
Play some
ridiculous
Mirrodin
Mirrodin decks? And like,
You wanna play
yeah,
with
sure,
Skull
that'll be
Clamp?
fun. Yeah, like, cool. Right? Like, you can totally do that, and it's totally fine.
Yeah.
Right? You could be the silent majority, the mythical kitchen table player.
That's right.
Right? And have fun. So, like, you know, it's not about having like piles and piles of cards, because as many times as we're like, oh, dude, I sold this card for like $300 after I paid $5 for it 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of like, I paid $5 for this card, and the best I'm ever gonna do is $3.
Or a nickel.
Yeah, so
Yeah, there were definitely
just, like,
cards that I sent out in this last order that I made that I paid $5 for that are now a nickel.
sometimes I look at them and go like, maybe your time will come. I will let you stay a little bit longer.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, there are definitely cards that like I took L's on.
Mm-hmm.
But like, you know, I've got a whole stack of Chamber Centuries.
Yeah.
I need Cheerios and Modern to be good. A whole like 70. Like, I just need them to be good. Like, do you remember, oh gosh, the people that like had entire 800 count long boxes of Steam Flogger bosses?
Yeah.
And like when like Riggers came up in some set or something,
Yeah, it was unstable.
they were just like, it's time. And like the people were like trying to sell their Steam Flogger bosses after all those years.
Yeah.
Right? Like, more than likely, you're stuck with Steam Flogger boss forever.
Yep.
So like, you know, it's what are your goals, and what do you want to get out of having a collection?
Yeah, I guess to sum everything up that I said, don't dwell on like what happened and focus on what you enjoy out of the game now, and build your collection towards that.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so
kind of rolls into this next question. What
did we love about the game that is missing now?
Yeah. How about that?
Well, yeah, I think professional segue, people.
Yeah.
Professional segue. They don't teach you this in school. You just have to learn it.
That's right.
So since I have not played Paper Magic in 2 years, a big part of it is the gathering.
Yeah.
I'd have to like adjust to having my opponent draw the nuts in front of me and not just go like, of course you had it every time, man. Which is what I yell at my iPad. Like, you know, it wouldn't be fair for you if you just didn't have 7 answers in your hand.
Right.
I understand. I'd have to just be like, yes, good. So, like, I think the easy one is the gathering.
Yeah, I miss the big events. I mean, like LGS stuff to a little bit lesser extent, but I definitely miss our bi-monthly trips, or roughly bi-monthly.
We used to go multiple, like, there was usually one event in Atlanta every year. It was usually a GP.
Yep.
Occasionally there'd be an open.
Yep.
We'd go to 1 or 2 opens in Baltimore every year. We would go
Richmond.
Usually we went to some opens in Richmond, but we also did some GPs there.
Yep.
And then Charlotte, before things got weird, North Carolina, had multiple events a year. So there was a stretch where like you would go like every other month to a thing, and like playing the event was fun, but it was also like we've talked about, like just getting to go. Like I remember when I took Anthony to his first event, like I wanted to go play Elder Deep Fiend in Richmond, and it was a god awful rainstorm here. It was pouring, and just hopped in my car and drove through like the worst rainstorm for like an hour to get out of town and to get to Richmond.
Yep.
And he will talk fondly about me saying I have effects in your upkeep as I tapped all of my opponent's land. And then when I bombed out of that because like there was a mono blue deck that like played like a medallion or something. It was wild. It was like, you know, like the end of a format, like just wild things crop up. Yeah, it was one of those situations. And then he watched me play like a top 16 to legacy event, and he was like, I have no idea what any of your cards do. I was playing Eldrazi and just like repeatedly like made people force chalices on turn ones, and like I got to him to Tarak them, so that's cool. He's like, I don't know what any of these cards do, but it looks pretty awesome, right? So like those kind of things were fun. I think from gameplay, and I've brought this up before. The game has changed from resource management, to resource deployment.
Yep.
And like, so I feel like that's cut off a number of like avenues of play, right? Like,
I miss mid-range decks.
Yeah. So there's like they were never super good, but like the like decks that were just like a ton of discard and like I'll find some garbage way to win. It's like, okay, fine, but like every card I draw is a 2-for-1. Like you have a handful of Thoughtseizes, I have a handful of 2-for-1s. If I get to resolve any of them, you're behind.
Right.
Right, so you can just never let me resolve a spell. And it's like, oh, I resolved a spell, now you're behind, and then it just snowballs from there. So, like, resource denial decks are a lot harder to play. Mid-range decks, like you said, right? Like, it's super easy to knock a mana off of a card and make it an aggressive 1-drop or an aggressive 2-drop. Right? It's way harder to find the, like, right balance for, like, a reasonable 4-mana threat.
Yeah.
Right? So, sometimes they go a little bit higher. They make them 5 or 6 mana, but then they're like, oh, we have to like turn the knobs even further. So like you get Elder Gargaroth.
Yeah, and like the problem with that stuff is there's no good answer for it. Like you realistically can't print an answer good enough to catch you up after something like that. You know, and Omnath comes down and triggers twice, and like there is no answer that's going to let you come back from that.
No, it's like, oh, they drew a card, gained 4 life, and oh, this thing costs 0 mana.
Right.
Okay, I guess I'm in trouble. Right, and well, the thing that you can play to catch up after that is like sweepers, right? Which is why control decks, kind of, but that's like why control decks are as good as they are, because the only way to like kind of catch up from your opponent, like 4-for-1ing you on 2 cards, or you know, 2-for-1ing you on 2 cards back to back, is all right. I'm going to 2-for-1 you with my sweeper.
Yeah.
Right, and so it's pushed mid range out, and then because like, how do you beat control? Well, you either go under it, or you go way over the top.
Right.
And then like mid range is there, like, okay, I can beat the go under. I have problems with control, but a bunch of my cards are 2-for-1s. There's a chance. And then it's like, oh, I can never beat the go way over the top thing. It's like
not in a million years.
Right, like it's the like Tron, right?
Right.
Or like you think about Junded Modern, right? Junded Modern had a hard time with Tron because it went way over the top of anything Jund was doing.
Yep.
Right? But it had game against control. Like they were probably like even. Right? Like, you know, I'm thinking old-timey blue-white control from, when we used to play. Right? And then control had a hard time with, like, Tron. Because eventually they ran out of counter spells, and then you resolved a 7-drop.
Yep.
Right? And so, like, now it's like, well, you just can't do the mid-rangey stuff anymore.
Yeah.
Because we've made the, like, 5, 6, 7 mana cards so good.
Yeah.
That you can't do that. So I don't know, I think that like the like slow, like kind of like Jund, you've talked about like you know, kind of like squeezing your opponent, right, cutting them off of their angles and like working the game into a spot. Like you can't do that anymore.
Yeah, and like my favorite part about that deck was the way it let and kind of forced your opponent to make bad decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And like I liked navigating the game to a point to let like my opponent make a mistake. And there's not really any decks that do that anymore.
It's hard. It's hard for decks to allow you to leverage small advantages.
Yeah.
Right? Like you hear people talk about the micro decisions, right? Those really small things that you do. And then we've talked about them like, when do you play your land?
Mm-hmm.
What land do you play? What does it represent?
Right.
And I feel like a lot of times now it's like, I'm going to jam my Omnath into your 2 open mana.
Mm-hmm.
If it resolves, sick.
What am I going to do? Not jam my Omnath?
Yeah, exactly. Like the opportunity cost to not jamming is so high, right? You're just like, I have to jam this, right? This 4-drop is ridiculous. I have to jam.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, well, you didn't have a counter. Or, oh, you're Jund. I'm going to jam this when you're going to kill it, and you're still going to be behind.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. And so, right, like, the decks that, like, you play small edges are gone.
Yeah, completely gone. And, that was my favorite kind of deck. That was definitely my jam.
Like, the closest thing is, like, probably, like, Red, Black, Sack, and Pioneer.
Yeah.
But I think it's dying a slow death as well.
And, even though it's the closest, it's still way different.
Yeah, it's you're doing a whole lot of small fiddly things.
Right.
But it's a different kind of play style. But like decks where you get small edges where you're like one ping matters. Like, oh, I got all my pings on turn 2 and that matters on turn 9 now.
Right.
Because you're at 1 instead of 2 and I can kill you. And sometimes it's just like, no, it doesn't. I buried you.
Like your elf guy with a Chroma's Monument.
Yeah. Yep. It's like, it doesn't matter. I got buried. You buried
that 4
me.
life didn't matter when you swung for 40.
Yes, it's fine. So, like, those things, like the small edges.
Yeah. I don't know, that kind of stuff was always just really rewarding to me. It's not like, as we're talking about it, it kind of comes across as like, you're putting your screws to your opponent, or like I mentioned, letting your opponent make a mistake. But that's not how I ever saw it. It was just, setting up your game plan and, outplaying, I guess.
Mm.
But
like, I think they're still outplaying your opponents, but it's different now.
Yeah.
Right. It's very right. It's a lot smaller. So it's different ways to outplay your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
And like we said, like, it's not about like, I have 3 cards in my hand. How can I best utilize these 3 cards over the course of the next few turns? It's, I have 3 cards.
I need to deploy them in the right order as soon as possible.
I need to deploy them in the right order as soon as possible because I'm going to have 3 more cards next turn.
Yeah.
So I have to maximize how I use my mana each turn.
Yeah.
And, like, I think I have problems. I've had problems adjusting that because I still think, like, well, if I hold up my Omnath, I can, like, play my fetch land next turn and I can get 2 triggers and that might be better. So I was like, can I, like, maximize my value here? And sometimes, like, just play it. You're going to, like, maximize your value regardless.
Yeah.
All right.
Our last question is kind of 2 questions in one, and it's also kind of the opposite of the question that we just answered. So we had 2 different people ask this question. I'm going to read them both because they're both kind of the same thing, just worded a little bit differently. What do we currently enjoy about the game? And the other question is, what gets you excited about Magic lately? Which I think they're kind of the same thing, right? Or are they different
kind of
questions?
The same. They're similar.
Yeah.
I think that, like, the like, I don't know, one's like big picture, one's smaller picture.
Yeah.
But I think that they're like, there's still a lot of the, like, solving of a puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
And there's still the, like, fun of seeing how cards fit together and work together well.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that's something I still enjoy, is, like, the deck building. And to some degree the tuning, or at least thinking about like what card do I need to accomplish this goal in the deck, or like what thing am I missing, or I need a way to draw cards that doesn't really draw cards. Is it better to play Showdown of the Scalds or Escape to the Wilds?
Yeah.
Right. They're different, but like they kind of do the same thing. So which one's better?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So those kind of decisions I think like are interesting and matter.
Yeah. See, that's interesting because for you, like that's something that you've always enjoyed about the game.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how I was going to approach this question.
Okay.
I was thinking about like the current game, and I guess like mentally there's a break in my mind where Magic now is not the same as what it used to be. So I can't give you the answer of what I enjoyed about what Magic used to be because it's not there anymore.
Okay.
So my answer is all of the things that aren't actually the cards. It's really strange how, and I think like doing this show helped through like the world ending. Just kind of opening my eyes as to like all of the different parts of the game that aren't actually playing the game. And I've come to enjoy all of that stuff a lot more than I used to. I enjoy making the show. I enjoy talking to my buddy Brian every week. I enjoy, communicating with all you guys. And it's a different way of engaging with the game. I also like some of the new stuff that's happened. Like I think Secret Lairs are super cool. I know there was a couple of them I was a little outspoken on, and I'd have to go back and see what my initial like gut reaction was to Secret Lair. I don't actually remember what that was. But I think Secret Lairs are cool. I enjoy most of the treatments and new looks for cards, even though I think they're overdoing it a little bit with 10 different frame treatments in every set plus Secret Lairs. But I enjoy that kind of stuff. I think it's cool.
Yeah, I think that is a good point. That is like there is like a break, but like the thing I keep coming back to is like the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
So like I think that is my answer is more the what do you enjoy about the game, like the big picture.
Yeah,
and maybe your answer is the like the lately thing.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, you see that, right?
Well, that was kind of interesting how that worked out.
Yeah, because like it's like why do I keep coming back to the game? And it's like this aspect.
Yeah. The brain.
Like it's the same reason like I enjoy role playing games, and this you're gonna see how this like I like playing role playing games and getting my character up to like the max level because I want to see like if I can break the game. Like, is there a point where where the game just becomes easy?
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey, I'm so powerful, like everything's easy now. I just kill everyone in one hit. Like this is great. And like to some people that's not fun, right? Some people like to play Dark Souls and want to suffer the entire time.
No, thank you.
And that's great. Like if that makes you happy, great. Like suffer the entire time.
Yep.
Right. But for me, it's like, can I get to a point where my character breaks things?
Yeah.
And like on some level, like deck building and thinking about decks is kind of the same way. Like, is there a way that like I can build this deck where it breaks things? Where like, hey, like I'm just winning all the time. And like, we've all played a deck against someone and you're like, I made 3 god-awful plays this game, but the deck is so good it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh, I've sequenced that terribly. Like, oh man, I got that countered when I didn't have to. And then just like, oh wait, like they're still dead.
Yeah.
Like, okay. You're like, oh hey, I'm really onto something here. Like I figured stuff out. Like lately, I mean, selling nickels is pretty sweet.
You're enjoying selling nickels.
That has been the thing that has made me that I've spent the most time doing in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Is just moving cards, and it's like I don't know. I'm according to TikTok, I have ADHD, but I think everyone has ADHD according to TikTok.
Sign of the times.
Sign of the times. Like, do you feel these ways? Like, don't all people feel these ways? You have ADHD. Do we all have ADHD? But right, like there's like the like scratching the itch of like, oh hey man, I'm decluttering things. I'm like getting money. I'm getting store credit mainly, but I'm getting money so I can like buy things without feeling like I'm being financially irresponsible. Right? Like, yeah, like this is great.
Yeah.
Like that has just been, a thing that's really got me like excited.
Yeah.
And I also like playing Arena for no stakes.
Yes.
Which Arena is mostly no stakes.
Yeah.
But there's still like when I'm playing the ladder, there's definitely like I lock in a little bit more.
The pressure, yeah.
And focus a little bit more. But like I've been a huge fan of like most midweek magics.
Mm-hmm.
Right? As long as they play little to no alchemy cards, I'm usually pretty down.
Yeah.
Right? But like you can just jam a game and like, oh hey, I missed my third land drop. I'll concede.
Mm-hmm.
Right? As opposed to like, on the ladder you're like, okay, I've got to figure out how I can squeeze the most possible turns
out of my Multifor.
Out of my Multifor.
Yeah.
As opposed to being like, you know what, I can just move on and like go play a game that's actually going to be a game.
Yeah, that was
so like this.
Actually, the other part of my answer was Arena. I'm really thankful that Arena, for all its issues, that Arena exists, because
yeah,
it would have been really difficult to maintain my love for the game if Arena wasn't around for the last couple of years.
Like you can only like buy and sell cards so often if you like actually aren't playing them.
Yeah.
Right. Then you could be buying and selling anything.
Right.
Right. But yeah, like so the like midweek magic, this like whatever it's called, what was it, Gladiator?
Gladiator, yeah.
Like that was like those kind of things where it's like just play. If you lose, like whatever, you got like one more win for the week, or whatever. Like that's fine. So that has been a thing that I have enjoyed lately.
Yeah,
is like almost like the stress-free playing.
It's funny you bring that up because, well, I told you I really haven't been down to the game store much lately. I used to go on my lunch break every day. And ever since I was getting over COVID, I would come home and take a nap on my lunch break. So I just kind of got out of the habit of going down there.
Yeah.
Well, lately I've still been coming home, but I'll like fire up Arena on my lunch break, and like I'll start a game knowing that I only have 5 or 6 minutes before I got to leave to go back to work. Like I have no intention of actually finishing the game.
Yeah, you're just like, I want to play a little bit.
I want to turn some lands sideways for 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna drop. No stakes.
Like,
it's kind of nice.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and on some level, like playing F&M was like no stakes, but there was still like the like.
Well, you still wanted
playing
promo.
Yeah, but like playing for pride.
Yeah.
Right, and selling my stack of foil promos. The like amount of politicking and stuff for like what ended up being ultimately a nickel was just like, why are people so mad? Why did I care so much about these damn nickels?
Yeah.
Like my life could have been slightly better if I would have just been like, you can have this nickel.
I'm going home
about
10 o'clock instead of 12:30.
Yeah. How about you give me a nickel and I'll put it in my piggy bank and I give you this promo.
Yeah.
Like it's a fair exchange. Right? Like, even, like, when they were, like, valuable, it was, like, 25 cents or $1, and we were all, like, killing each other for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that, Arena, if there was an Arena, I don't think we'd still have a podcast.
Probably not. I think
like, we would have just, like, we would have just, like, or would have become, like, a cyberpunk podcast.
For a while there, we were anyway.
Yeah, we were anyway, like, accidentally. But, yeah, so... the game still has the things that I enjoy, right? Like there is definitely an enjoyment to like, the driving home thinking about like a deck or a card. Like, okay, how could I use this? Or like, what does this deck need? Like that's still enjoyable. Also, it wouldn't be fair if I didn't say my cube. I've not thought about my cube very much because like we had the like Baldur's Gate set.
Yeah.
And then basically no sets that offered new cards for like months.
Right.
So there's been no like, ooh, that card is better than this. But like
get
that
ready
was
to get
fun.
excited because they're coming.
That was fun to put together.
We got 2 more sets coming between now and the end of the year. So
yes, there'll be, and I'm sure they will just print strictly better stuff.
yeah. So speaking of 2 sets coming before the end of the year, we got one more thing before they wrap this show up.
Okay.
Over the weekend, there was a, I don't know if it was a spoiler or a leak. I think it was an Amazon posting. There was a
that was
sale.
what the tweet said in the
yeah.
There was in
thing on Amazon for Dominaria Remastered, and it's supposedly releasing in January. I think like I don't think you had heard of this, right? Because you were wondering.
No. No.
I think that's the extent of the information that we have, and there's a couple different things people are assuming this is going to be. Number one being Double Feature 2.0, where it's just Dominaria United and Brothers War smashed together. I think that's probably pretty likely.
How much lead? I know they cut the lead time in set development down.
Mm-hmm.
How far down did they cut it?
I think it's under a year. Because
I would think that after the negative response that Innistrad like Double Feature got,
yeah,
to the point that Morrow even mentioned, in his year wrap up, like, yeah, we needed to do a better job, and people weren't happy with this, and we need to do a better job of communicating what sets are, and stuff. I would hope that they were like, yeah, we just can't take these 2 sets and smush them together.
Well,
like, so
I agree that would be a nice hope, but I don't think. I think the lead time on sets is like complete turnaround from nothing to set is it's under a year now. So I don't know if they have time for that.
Yeah, like I don't know if like they would have been done and planned this. Like I guess when would they have to start printing these new packs?
Yeah.
Like just because like with how bad Double Feature bombed.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I could see like as the numbers look awful in February, them going like, yeah, we can't just run back this same idea. We have to actually like take like 3 weeks and like
curate something.
build a 400 card set.
Yeah.
Out of these 600 cards.
Yeah.
So people don't like flip out. Yeah. Or a 350 card set out of these 2 sets and just like go from there.
Well, there's another theory because this isn't labeled the same way that Double Feature was. This is called a remastered set. It's Dominaria Remastered. So the other theory is that it's like Time Spiral Remastered. And it's like everything from a certain subset of sets squished together. So maybe Dominaria Remastered is all of everything that was on Dominaria, like Odyssey, Tempest, Weatherlight, Dominaria, Time Spiral.
I mean, like you started Alpha.
Yeah, Antiquities. Yep.
Yeah, like just everything. I think that would be a better product.
Oh, for sure. It would definitely sell better, especially if they took a cue from Double Feature and came up with like, the entire set is old bordered.
That's what I was gonna say. That would be what I think it would have to like.
Yeah.
The draft environment could be god awful. Mm-hmm. But they would move boxes if every card was old bordered.
Yeah.
Right? Like 100% like cards would fly off the shelves if they were all old bordered. So I think that would be the wise thing financially for them to do.
I think it'd be a lot harder to curate though, right? Like how do you power balance like Iron Star versus Karn the what was the
Karn oh gosh, Scion of Urza?
Yeah, that one. Like obviously they're different rarities, but like those two things like
but I think that like if you go back through Magic's history, right, and you think about all the cards that are like on Dominaria,
Mm-hmm.
right? You know, you have Brainstorm and Swords and Lightning
Oh,
Bolt.
that's true. Yeah.
And you have
Mind Twist, Hypnotic Spectre, Dark Ritual.
yeah, like there are definitely cards. Like I'm kind of blanking, like Vampiric Tutor,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I'm just trying to think of like Cabal Ritual. There are
Mm-hmm.
definitely cards that can hang. I think Torment was on
Yeah.
Innistrad. Rashad Port, no, it wasn't.
No, Mask's
But
on a
like,
different plane.
yeah, but like you could like the entire Urza's block is busted.
Yep.
Right? Like there's tons of cards from Urza's block you could put
Mm-hmm.
um in a set and have it be respectable. So like yes, I think it would be harder to like balance it, but it's not like all the cards from 30 years ago are zeros.
Right.
Right? There's definitely right now you would have to find a lot more like you'd be pulling a lot of tens from the olden times.
And a lot of fours
And
from the new stuff.
maybe. Or like you'd be like a lot of tens and there might be a lot of like I could see a lot of rarity shifts.
Yeah.
Where like, hey, this was a rare in like Visions, but this is probably like an uncommon or a common power level
Yeah.
in current set, so we should probably do that. And like that makes it work so you can get like your nostalgia hit.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I mean, real talk, Sarah Angel's been an uncommon for a long time.
A long time, yeah.
It's a common.
Definitely.
It would be a common in like any of the last like 4 sets we played.
Yeah. Actually, like now that we're talking about it, I think this whole second idea is a lot more plausible than the first idea.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically because like we know there's a time element involved here, right? Because the Brothers War happened before like everything.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're going from Dominaria like way back in time to Brothers War, then I think it's pretty plausible that there's cards from all of Dominaria's history involved.
Yeah, because like I don't know how many sets are set on Dominaria.
A ton of them. Ice Age.
A ton. Yeah, Ice Age, like that whole block.
Cold Snap. Fallen Empires, Mirage, Visions.
But like if you said there will be a minimum of 3 cards or 4 cards from every single Dominaria base set,
mm-hmm.
It would not be hard to get 200 cards that would not be like laughable. Right. And maybe you'd have to shy away from like the Lemdul's vaults of the world, so you don't have to like people aren't just like, who's Lemdul? Who is this? Right. But like Baron Singier and Old Border.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like people would eat that up. I don't think he's on the reserve list.
Well, that was a different plane. Homelands was a different plane.
Homeland's a different plane?
Yeah.
I didn't know we were jumping around in planes back then.
Yeah, Homelands was a different plane. Golgothra, I think.
Okay, show off. They should also re-release Chandelar. Like,
dude, I played Chandelar on Friday. Friday night, I installed it and was playing it.
I should do that because like it's Chandelar. It's awesome.
Yep.
God, I remember playing that game back then.
Contract from Blowing Fools all over the place.
Yes, Contract from Below and Lightning Bolts. Let's go. But like I think you can like make you could make a set that like spoke to all of Magic's history.
Mm-hmm.
That wouldn't like just be full of cards that were like complete and total embarrassments.
Yeah. I mean, I think like Temspell Remaster, I think was a home run. From what I remember, like that sold like gangbusters and.
Yeah, the boxes are really expensive.
Yeah. I wonder what they currently are.
Yeah, like I think you could do. I would much rather see that. Like, I guess my hierarchy would be the like trip down memory lane, everything's old bordered set.
Yeah.
Followed by we take the 2 sets and we make one unique draft environment out of it. followed by a distant third.
Squish.
We smush them all together.
Yeah.
I guess distant third is. I guess third would be smush them all together, but make them all old border.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Then just smush them all together and don't change anything or make them black and white. That's fourth by like a long
By a
way.
mile.
By a mile.
Yeah.
So your eyebrows perked up. How much is a Time Spiral Remastered
Well,
box?
it scared me because the first one that popped up was Russian and it was $600.
Okay.
They're about $300, which isn't
Okay.
a ton more than they were.
Okay. You're like $600. You're like, oh my god.
Yeah. Like, whew. I got a couple of them on the shelf over here. $600. I might have to move.
They might have to move right now.
Yeah.
So yeah. So this time next week we'll have new cards, or at least like
We'll
all the
probably
new
have
mechanics.
mechanics. Yeah, we'll probably do mechanics next week. I'm sure they'll be out. So
Which will be fun to look at.
yeah,
All right. So with that, I think we have a show.
we have a show.
If you want to get at us, if you want to send us any of your answers to the questions we answered, I'm assuming we're gonna have some French press people on the coffee.
Probably, I'm sure. I'm sure there's going to be some hate for my percolator, my
Yeah.
OG 1960s percolator.
You can get us on social media, Twitter, Discord, all of that. The links are all in the description below.
Yep. If you want to support the show, two ways to do it. First is TCG player affiliate link, tcg.casualtryhardmtg.com. Head on over there, buy all your singles. We get a cut of that, and we really appreciate it. It's the easiest way for you guys to support us. The second way is if you think we do a good job and you want to support us directly, patreon.com/casualtryhardmtg. Chip a couple bucks in. You get put on my mailing list when I got cool swag to send out. You get to listen to our pre-show, and you get our show notes. So, like I said, chip a couple bucks in and supports us directly.
We would greatly appreciate it.
Yeah. We also have our tournament coming up Saturday, August 27th, 8 p.m. East Coast time. It's Peasant Brawl. mtgmelee.com. You can head over there and sign up. I think you're going to put a link in the description too. You got the link
I
still?
put one in last week. I'll
Yep.
put one in this week.
All
We
right,
will make it
perfect.
happen.
Perfect. You got anything else for this week?
Nope.
All right.
So with that, we will catch you on the internets.
We'll catch you on the internets.